if not achievement. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter. It pales in comparison to a championship. We've got a former league MVP right here on the set right now in Cam. I ask you, Cam, if you could give back that league MVP for a Super Bowl championship, would you do it?
No.
Oh.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Because you have to ask it through this lens. That was a very journalistic viewpoint or vantage point or response, Stephen A. I'll ask you this question, and just to pose this thought: what's more important, impact or championships? You look at a guy like Allen Iverson, you stood up on the table and blah 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 blah. Everybody's not going to be Michael Jordan. Everybody's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's not going to be these individuals who have the luxury of saying, hey, I not only dominated this sport, but I also have championships to back it. Like, let me remind you, Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Respectfully, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. So, yes, when you look at those guys and you say, okay, what's more important? Would you have preferred to win a Super Bowl? I think that's the humble approach, but if we're being honest, the impact of you holding yourself accountable to say everybody has a responsibility to do. And you can say as an MVP award winner or an All-American, you've held yourself or you've held your end of the bargain down. And that's what it really comes down to for me. I know that's not the popular pick. I'm trying to be popularized. But my take is I'm taking individual success because I did my job. Football is not about one guy trying to do 11 jobs. It's 11 guys doing one job.
I respect.
So to me, he kind of contradicted himself at the end when he was talking about he gonna choose an individual award, but it takes 11 people for one goal instead of one person trying to do 11 things. Which what he was saying was true, but he was contradicting himself. You took the MVP award. It's an individual award, but it doesn't reign over championships, especially when it comes down for quarterbacks. They're judged differently, they're paid differently, and the quarterback position is based on championships, which that was the position that you played. Did you play the game differently from other quarterbacks? Of course, and the quarterbacks that you named, as in, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, Nick Foles. Nick Foles don't need to be on that list that you named, though, because Nick Foles was an asset when it comes down to that offense in Philly. Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer benefited from that 2002 Tampa Bay defense and that 1999 Baltimore Ravens defense. That was more of a defensive team and they ran the ball. But your MVP year was kind of like y'all ran the ball a lot too. It was the read option. Y'all had two dynamic running backs. I mean, Ted Ginn was cool. Functions was all right. You had I think you had a great, I ain't gonna say dominant, but a great tight end in Greg Olsen. Y'all had 10 Pro Bowlers that year, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Allen and them boys was going crazy on the defensive end. Julius Peppers, Luke Kuechly. We know what it is. But when it comes down like I get it, and it's your trophy, so you can decide what you would do with it. You know what I'm saying? It's really up to you. But like it's shocking to other people that, you know what I'm saying, because we hold championships above MVPs, especially in today's age, like Stephen A said, for the simple fact that MVP is a quarterback award. Like, if you're not a quarterback and you're not about to break a record that's been standing in the record books for so long, if you're a receiver, the only way you're winning the MVP is if you got to break Jerry Rice single season receiving yards. You feel what I'm saying? If you're a running back, you got to break Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record. For people to be like, oh snap, you feel what I'm saying? Like, so to that point, the MVP kind of goes down. The league MVP, the regular season MVP. You feel what I'm saying? Now, the Super Bowl MVP, in my eyes, I hold a little bit more higher because it's one game. That player who played the best, anybody could win it. We didn't see Von Miller win it, Deion Branch, a lot of awkward players that you would have never thought would have won the MVP of the Super Bowl has won it for the simple fact that they was the most impactful player in that game on the biggest stage that you can possibly play football on. So to me, league MVP is kind of a notch below Super Bowl MVP. That's just my opinion, how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? The league MVP is harder because you have to sustain that type of success throughout a 16, 17 game season. But you can do that and have a game like you had, no point intended, no slight or nothing like that. A game like you had, I wouldn't say that was one of your best games that you had in the Super Bowl, but that was Von Miller, one of Von Miller's best games in the Super Bowl. Odell Beckham Jr. probably could have won a Super Bowl MVP if it wasn't for him getting hurt in the first half. He was having an amazing first half. People was really talking about Odell winning the MVP of the Super Bowl. So that's my take on it. Like, when it comes down to, like, what's the hierarchy when it comes down to these awards in the NFL? And a lot of people, you know, I mean, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, just me, period, is league MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and then it's the Super Bowl champion, like getting that trophy. And as a quarterback, that's what you're measured on. There's no way of getting around it. Like, you got Dan Marino, one of the greatest throwers of the football, but he doesn't get mentioned with the Tom Brady's, the Terry Bradshaw's, Joe Montana's, Patrick Mahomes. You see what I'm saying? Like, even to like how good Peyton Manning was, he only has 2. Now the MVPs, the multiple MVPs helps that out. You feel what I'm saying? You got multiple MVPs plus multiple Super Bowls. Okay, cool. You feel what I'm saying? But it doesn't. It gotta even out. Like, it's like a. I can explain it, but it's more so if people willing to listen to it. You feel what I'm saying? Because you got his brother Eli has 2, but he doesn't have no league MVPs. Like, we knew you wasn't really like, so your impact goes along with what you did in your career. So it has to even out. It can't just be like I was impactful because I was an MVP. Nah, no, because to keep it a buck. At that quarterback position, mobile quarterbacks, African American quarterbacks, that it's gonna always be Vic. I know Randall Cunningham came before him and all that, but like, it's gonna be Vic. You ask any mobile quarterback, black, white, green, blue, orange, it's gonna be Vic. Like, would you take this person or Vic? Vic. Would you take this person or Vic? You know what I'm saying? Like, that bar hasn't really been moved over until Lamar came. But it's like, but Vic had an aura about him that was more than just football. Like, everybody loved Michael Vick before the dog incident. Like, everybody, it was a Michael Vick experience. I don't care who you was, if you was a child, grown man, little boy, the girls loved him. Like, everybody. That's the same with Allen Iverson. Like, he only has 1 MVP, doesn't have any and that's my favorite player of all time. But like, he had such an impact, or such a aura, such an influence on it wasn't just basketball, it was everything. Like, we was going to go get our hair done, to get the corn. Like, give me the AIs. I want the AIs, bruh. Like, that was a real thing. Like, you going to the court trying to snatch a nigga, like, all that, bruh, came from AI. You feel me? So it's like, when you got grown men trying to wear your sleeves, you know what I'm saying? You got the tattoos, like, all that stuff came from Allen Iverson. The way he would wear his clothes, him getting his hair done on getting his hair braided by his mom on the side. Like, you can't. That's all that is organic, bruh. You can't. There's no way to do. That's impact. Steph Curry had impact. If you look at the mouthpiece and him, you know what I'm saying, chewing on the mouthpiece and all that, brother. Go look at Caleb Williams when he played, and you could tell he's a Steph Curry fan. Like, you can tell, bro. You can tell. Like, it is what it is, and it's just like, you just go back in time and through history. It's like, who had that aura? Who had that influence? At first, it was Magic with the smile. You feel what I'm saying? And then it was Jordan with the tongue, and then it was like, but Jordan elevated it so much, but like, cause you can't say that. Who would have, if you wanted to compare, who had more aura? But like, once it went overseas with Jordan, I think his aura, you know what I'm saying, went above Magic, because Magic came in the game winning. And it took Mike a while, but it was just like, once he started winning, it was so dominant with it. plus the MVPs. Like it's just like that's what I'm saying. So you got to look at it in totality. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I think your name will always be embedded in the NFL. You can't mention the NFL without mentioning Cam Newton. But to say like you'll take an impact, if you like your impact has to be so great and so monumental that you can take an impact or take an influence or take a whatever over a championship, multiple championships. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you're a true football fan, you know who Joe Montana is. You, regardless how old you is, you know Joe got 4 of them jumps. He come back shorty. You feel what I'm saying? Tom Brady got 7. We know what it is. Mahomes got 3 on his way to get 4. Been down by 10 points every time. Like the aura, the story, everything goes along with the championship. Bro, I can't if you not with that, I don't know what you on, bro. If you just trying to get MVPs, my nigga, like, cool, you was talented. That's what Aaron Rodgers is, right? Like how people really like looking at Aaron Rodgers right now. Oh yeah, you was cool. You was a good thrower of the football and all that. But like you was talented, but you ain't really like you underachieved. If you really like you underachieved, bro. If you not, I'm not talking about like in life or like I'm talking about as a football player. Your talent with the team you had and where you was at. I will say that though, because you was in Carolina, I think that's another reason why, you know what I'm saying, you couldn't really fully, you know what I'm saying, get to your where you could have been, where you was competing for Super Bowls. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's hard to get talent and free agents and stuff like that in Carolina for sure. But if you like my example was Aaron Rodgers, like you're talented. One of the, you know what I'm saying, if not the best, one of the best between him and Dan Marino of throwing the ball, but you only have one. You've only been to one. And Patrick Mahomes haven't seen nothing less than an AFC championship game, bruh. Like Brady has been a 10 and he was in his, like, come on, bro. And you on the opposite side of the spectrum. You're on the NFC side. If anything, it should have been Aaron Rodgers meeting up against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl at least 3 or 4 times. We should have got that at least 3 or 4 times. The way how good Aaron Rodgers was. The MVPs don't amount to that. Like you can't. You feel them? Like I don't know. Maybe just let me know how y'all feel about it. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's just how I feel. Like I'm not saying championships is everything, but to quarterbacks, most definitely.